Our goal is to provide quality of service.
Images were taken from the back of the Green Oaks Funeral Home on Florida Boulevard. Before 3 p.m. today, Tom Mayer sent us pictures of blood and formaldehyde leaking from a holding tank behind the building. He says he noticed the blood after visiting a loved one at the cemetery. After the city received the pictures, they went out to investigate. We were there today and saw an employee cleaning up the scene before the Department of Environmental Services arrived.
An advanced state of decomposition and covered in what appeared to be mold. This is the state of two bodies investigators with Michigan's Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs say they found today inside Cantrell Funeral Home, and looking into Cantrell from a complaint back in November. Cantrell didn't let investigators in. They came back in December, finding unsanitary conditions. Then again in February, then finding two bodies and caskets in the garage earlier this month.
At what point did you talk to your certified mortician about what she was doing right or wrong?
I haven't.
And don't you think you should have at this point?
That would have been wise.
And it may have prevented the shock, anger, and confusion over what happens now for families who entrusted Cantrell.
Gut-wrenching to know, and it's already hard enough having to go through this type of situation with a loved one, especially your father.
Taisha Wichard telling Action News she feels like she failed her father after state inspectors shut down Swanson Funeral Home in Flint. The remains of her 62-year-old dad, Marcus Wichard, were sent there in mid-June to be cremated. A contract she showed us verifies their agreement, the family working on a tight budget. But she claims she's been getting the runaround for weeks and still doesn't have his remains. You don't know if he was definitely cremated at all.
I don't. They didn't give me any information. They said they were going to send him to the crematory. I don't know who the crematory people are.
The Flint Funeral Home is no longer in business for now. Inspectors found several health code violations involving maggots, unrefrigerated bodies left in a garage for up to 5 months, and the smell of decomposing bodies circulating throughout that building. Hard for Wichard to believe loved ones of so many families would be treated in such an awful manner.
Me to even think that he's laying somewhere with maggots, like deteriorating his body, that's horrible.
Discover their body in the garage of the funeral home.
That's what one Detroit man says happened to him, and he can't get that image out of his mind.
7 Action News reporter Ronnie Dahl is live outside the funeral home on Detroit's east side. Ronnie, did you get any answers?
Well, we're still working to get some of those. Sir Juan Jackson's mother died Christmas Day. The family chose this funeral home to handle the arrangements. They had a memorial service, said their goodbyes. Then he made the discovery in that garage.
That's my mother. That's all I had.
Sir Juan Jackson was at his mom's side when she passed away Christmas Day. January 2nd, family members gathered at Andrews and Hardy Funeral Home to pay their respects. His mother had wanted to be cremated, so they thought the urn at the memorial contained her ashes, but they didn't.
During the funeral, we didn't even know that my mom was in the back of the garage with her body back there.
Turns out Reynalda Jackson Bandari hadn't been cremated yet, and more than a month after her death, she still hasn't. Sir Juan says he didn't know that until mid-January when he came to the funeral home to take care of some paperwork.
They opened up the garage and my mom was still sitting there in a box.
When you say box, describe that to me.
A cardboard box. Usually you go to the Eastern Market and you can get a box spare ribs, and they come in a box and they have the tape wrapped around and you just tear the tape off. That box. It tears me apart. I wanted to break to my knees because I've already seen my mother in a box and it hurts.
Nobody with the funeral home would do an interview with me, but I'm told Sir Juan's mom hasn't been cremated yet because the family still has an outstanding bill. Sir Juan says he's been trying to work with them until he says they told him they would drop off his mother's remains free of charge to his home.
I said, are you serious? Bring my mother's dead body back to me. What am I supposed to do with her body?
He is so distraught over this entire situation. Now, an employee with the funeral home did tell me that his mother's body is still here at the funeral home, but that she has been embalmed. But at this time, they are not confirming whether or not her body is still in the garage. That outstanding bill, $850. For now, we're live on the city's east side. Back to you.
Ronnie, such an injustice here. Can the state step in to help this situation out at all?
Yeah, we've been on the phone today making a lot of phone calls, and you know, he has reached out to DHS and they're helping. I think they pay up to $675 for funeral costs, and that money is being routed here to the funeral home. However, that's going to be applied towards the bill. He still has to come up with that $850. In the meantime, his mother seems to be just in limbo. He wants to give her the proper goodbye.
Now, where someone opened fire at a funeral, leaving one man dead. This afternoon, the family of 26-year-old Javon Parker was holding a visitation for their loved one, and that's when police say someone shot and killed a man attending the viewing. 7 Action News reporter Gino Vici is live with more on who police are looking for tonight. Gino?
Well, Carolyn, unfortunately, police say they do not have a description of the men who stormed Cantrell Funeral Home on Mack. That's again on Detroit's east side, but say they do have a description of the vehicle they sped off in. Police also saying this violence has got to stop.
Senseless. This is ridiculous.
Shots fired at a funeral on Detroit's east side near the corner of Mack and Garland. One man is dead. This latest shooting prompting a strong reaction from DPD Captain Mark Thornton.
32 years on the job. When are we going to come together as a community to say enough is enough?
Today, the family of 26-year-old Javon Parker was holding a visitation at Cantrell Funeral Home on Mack. That's when police say the unthinkable happened. While Parker's family mourned the loss of their loved one, someone came in with a gun.
Possibly 2 to 3 individuals entered in to the location where shots were ultimately fired.
1 week ago today, 5 people were shot outside this home on Nashville near Gunston. Parker was one of the victims. He died, the others survived. Again, here at Cantrell, one man is dead. Police are not saying if the victim tonight is connected to that shooting where Parker lost his life.
Only thing that I can give you at this time, because it's still early in the investigation, is that we believe our suspects were in possibly a red Honda or possibly a Toyota. It's an older model. Only thing that I can give you at this time, because it's still early in the investigation, is that we believe our suspects were in possibly a red Honda or possibly a Toyota. It's an older model.